do they, what they do?
Ale to jest nie może.
Titanic has 3 anchors, and each chain link weighs the same as an average man.
Ripristante del Titanic,
They see all the ice.
so we've hit an iceberg. And he went away again, and he came back and said, oh, I spoke to one of the officers, they're going to launch the lifeboats, but you're all back on board for breakfast.
We were all allotted certain boats to go to, and after number 13, we just stood around waiting for orders, dancing around to the music. The musicians were on board, playing different tunes all day. Basically got orders to get 12 women and children up to their lifeboats. I don't know what the time was, but it was getting on. Anyway, we got them all up, as many as we could, and got them into the boats.
They started to lower the boat, and my father put my mother and I without any trouble at all. That was it. I never saw him again. He told me to hold my mummy's hand and be a good girl, that's all he said.
We had to forfeit our seat of the boat, of course, for the passengers.
The panic seemed to me to start after the boats had gone. We could hear it. But when we were in the boat rowing away, then we could hear the panic and people rushing about on the deck and screaming and looking for lifeboats. I can only tell you I was terrified. Oh, it was dreadful.
Well, at that time, the ship was getting well down, and all our lifeboats were away, except this one. I was walking from the port side over to the starboard side. I could see the water coming up the bridge like that, so I thought, of course, it's time to leave. So I was sat up to my knees in water then, I jumped up on the rail and dived into the water.
The bows went down first, the stern stuck up in the ocean for what seemed to me like almost like a long time. Of course it wasn't, but it sort of stood up stark against the sky and then it heeled over and went down.
Well, as I said, one of the sailors who was in the boat had to row further out because of the suction of the Titanic.
You could hear the people screaming and threshing about in the water. And finally, the ghastly noise of the people threshing about and screaming and drowning, that finally ceased.
When you had the lifeboat, you could see her lights going down, disappearing, like that. Because it was as high as this building, you know, very high ship. And you could see her lights disappearing all the time. Till it got to the boilers, and then the most terrible explosion. And of course, when after the explosion, she went down slow, like that.
All of a sudden, they wasn't there, the ship wasn't there, the lights weren't there, and the cries weren't there.
Well, we sat there about 20 hours, right through the night. Nothing to do, just living it over a bottle of it, sitting back with my back to it. I was like, tired of it,
The inquiry is attempting to cut through the confusion of that terrible night. Were those in third class, in steerage, forgotten in the rush to train places in the lifeboats? John Hart, one of the stewards in third class, gives evidence.
About how many third-class passengers had you in your sections altogether?
Somewhere about 58. 9 were men.
Can you help us fix the time when the order was given to pass the third-class women and children up to the boat deck?
The vessel struck, I believe, at 11:14. It must have been 3 parts of an hour before the word was passed down to me.
This would be about 12:30.
Yes, it would be.
In order that your third-class women and children should get up to the boat deck, they would have to mount a number of decks and go up a number of stairs. You led them.
I went ahead of them.
At that time, were there any barriers that at ordinary times are closed, but they were open?
There were barriers that at ordinary times are closed, but they were open.
So, where did you take the passengers to?
I took them to the only boat that was left then, boat number 15.
Now, this is an important point. You say the only boat that was left.
I could see.
Was there room for them in?
Yes, they were placed in it.
Did you see anyone keeping the third-class passengers back so as to prevent them getting to the boat deck?
No, my lord.
So, according to you, all the women and children who were taken up and who wanted to escape could have done so.
I did not doubt that for a moment.
Can you explain how it was, that being so, that 55% of the women of the third class were drowned?
I cannot account for it. No, sir.
Despite the fact that no third-class passengers were called as witnesses, the inquiry concludes that every soul on the Titanic had an equal chance of survival.
It had been suggested before the inquiry that the third-class passengers had been unfairly treated, that their access to the boat deck had been impeded, and that when at last they reached that deck, the first and second-class passengers were given precedence in getting places in the boats. There appears to have been no truth in these suggestions.
Yeah, he's